Hey everybody, Alex here, and today we're going to take a look at how to set up your stacker permissions. This is one of the biggest things that we've been requested to take a look at and fix for our clients, and I thought it would be a good idea to do a quick tutorial so that you guys know how to set up the basics, how to fix some of the most common issues that you might encounter. So yeah, without any further ado, let's take a look. So we're going to start off exactly where we left off in the previous video. Essentially, we've just set up a basic instance of Stacker, and now we're going to start dealing a little bit more with setting up permissions for this basic instance. I haven't set up anything yet, so if you're not really sure, go back to the previous video and catch up. So first things first, what we want to do now is we want to set up a dashboard for the current user. This is very easy to do, and the way that we're going to do this is by creating a one record view for the users table and just call it dashboard. So let's go ahead and start doing that. I'm just going to jump into, well, I think first and foremost into my app settings over here. Next, I'm going to go to navigation, bring up users right up here to the top, and that's it. I'm going to click out of that and then just jump into users. And now I'm going to go into edit layout. I'm going to duplicate this layout. I'm going to give it a name, something like my dashboard. I'm going to press duplicate. Awesome. So my dashboard is going to be a one record only view, and we're going to save this layout. Perfect. The next thing that I want to do is I want to remove the users view for now. We might bring it back later, but I think for now, just to achieve that dashboard view, I want to remove that users thing from the navigation. So here we go. Awesome. Now we've got my dashboard, and this is great. So the next thing that I want to do, I want to make sure that users who are using the app, and just to remind you, we have two main roles. We have John, who's an agent, and Mary, who's an office role. We want them to only see themselves. We don't want Mary to log in and see John's dashboard and vice versa. How do I set this up? This is our first action that we need to take in permissions. So let's go. Manage fields and data, users. And then over here in permissions, I can set up some permissions. Edit. And let's just call it user permissions global. Okay. Some records, and the ownership filter should be the record matches the user profile. Done. Let's just keep this as is for the moment. Save. Perfect. Now, the next thing to do, and we're going to be doing this a lot, we're going to be testing things. So let's jump in and impersonate either John or Mary. So preview as John. And I can see that my dashboard is just John, which is fantastic. If I preview it as Mary, my dashboard is Mary. So now let's go ahead and make this dashboard prettier. So let's go ahead and get out of edit mode. And now I'm going to go ahead and edit this layout. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to introduce like a record header. Not a record header. I want to introduce, I want to put a little banner right at the top. I think we can do that over here. Edit layout. And before we go into this edit layout, we need to edit the header here. And let's just add an image. Select files to upload. And let's just jump in here and choose something pretty. Awesome. And let's just call this my dashboard. Welcome to the real estate app v1. Perfect. Save and continue. So now the next thing that I want to introduce is just a little bit of interest in this dashboard. It can't be a real dashboard if, we can only see our email and our role. We want to spice this up. We want to make this prettier. So again, let's just go into edit layouts. And here I want to introduce some tabs. What kind of tabs do I want? I want properties, let's say, or let's just call this my properties, right? My properties, and I think that should be front and center, the first thing that you see. Then should be, I think we should have my details, where you can jump in and edit your name, email, and such. So my properties, my deals could be another one, or my tasks. Let's just say my tasks, something like that. And we're going to populate these as we go along. So I think over here, let's just put my details at the end so that we have my tasks and my details front and center. Very nice. Now, one way to make your tabs hop a little bit is to introduce emojis. Hopefully Stacker can introduce some more native icons in the future, but for now, emojis are the name of the game for a bunch of things. I would say let's just jump into some of the most popular emojis. So one way to make your tabs a little bit more interesting is to introduce emojis. I mean, I wish Stacker had more native icons for us to pop in here into our tabs, but we have to use emojis for now. So one of my favorite places to fetch emojis is Emojipedia. So I'm just going to open up one of those saved emojis, and I think I'm going to search for something like house, and house with garden. And here I'm going to copy that, come back here into our tab, edit the name, pop it in there. So let's press copy, open this up, and let's go back to our tab, pop it in there, press save, and see that immediately looks much better. Next thing, something for tasks. Maybe we can use like a little lightning bolt. Copy that. Come back in. Actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. For tasks, I think I'm going to use like a little tick mark. That's a better option. Copy that. Paste it in. And my details, that could be like a simple cog so that you can basically mess with settings, right? Why does it not find anything for a cog? Like setting that gear. There we go. Perfect. Copy that. Back in here. Edit my details. Perfect. Now, here in my properties, I can start editing this a little bit. So I will go ahead and add a related record list. So this is going to be my list of properties, and we can include all the records for now, or later on we can include related records. Right now, we haven't related any particular user to any particular property. In the next section, we're going to take a look at how to do that exact thing. But for now, let's just, for this particular user, include all the properties. And for tasks, we're going to do pretty much the same. We have a decently set up dashboard. Just all the tasks and the details. Excellent. The next thing that we can throw in, because I feel like this is barely a dashboard, if you want to call this, I think the next thing to throw in would be like a little call out, maybe. Let's try that again. Or maybe like a little banner, like a success. Welcome to your... Now, actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. Let's leave it as is. Very, very simple. So yeah, let's move on to a more advanced setup where we're going to actually match some properties to some agents so that whenever our friend John logs in, he can only see properties that are meant for him only. So welcome back, everybody. In this section of the video, we're going to take a look at setting up permissions for agents. In other words, an agent can only see the properties that are assigned to them only. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to do that. The first thing that we need to do in this particular case, we need to jump into our Airtable database and more specifically into our properties table. And here I want to create a new field on the right. Let's just call it something like assigned agent. And this is going to be a link to our users table. So I'm going to link to another record, users. I'm going to disallow linking to multiple records. I'm going to create that field. Let's just assign house1 to John. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to jump into my Stacker instance and then into manage fields and data. And in this case, I want to go and refresh my scheme. This is going to refresh fields that Stacker can't see. Once it's done, like so, just click out of it or press done. The next thing that we need to do is actually we need to make sure that that we can use those fields within Stacker. So fields, properties, turn this thing on. You see how users couldn't, like by default, Stacker doesn't actually allow you to see those fields. So turn that off. And then properties, we need to do the same thing because, links, when you create a link, it creates two fields and two tables. So fields, and you can see here assigned agent is also there, but turned off. So we need to turn this on. Excellent. Now that we've done that, we need to adjust our permissions for properties. The next thing that we need to do is essentially jump in and set up permissions, our properties. Now, property permissions right now by default only has got access to all records. We need to set up some permissions, and let's just call this something like agent. So every agent should have access only to a few records. Ownership is going to be the record assigned agent matches the user profile, and press done. At this point, we are half done. But for now, let's just press save. So what I want to do is I want to now work with roles. I want to set up my roles for Stacker in general because I want this particular permission to apply only to agents and not to my office people. The way to do that is actually very easy. So jump into app settings as we are here. And the next thing that we need to do is jump into roles and enable roles. The next thing is we need to add a role. Now, there is a few things that we want to do here. First of all, the basic role needs to be admin, right? And just all pages can read, modify all data, save changes. Actually, that role already exists. Okay, so fine. There's no need to set this up. So in that case, let's set up office. No, they can't. Well, they can access all pages. Yeah, let's leave it at that. So office, and the other role is agent. Confirm, and yeah, basically that is that. The next thing that we want to do is we wanna link our Stacker roles of admin, office, and agent to our Airtable roles of admin, office, and agent. The way to do that, very easy. Just jump into manage users. Then I believe we need to jump into this little setting over here. And this is where we can create conditional roles. So the default role could be, yes, office. In fact, maybe agent. And let's just add some conditional roles. So office when role is office. Done. Add another conditional role. Agent when role is agent. Now, this might be a little bit confusing, but the only reason why it's confusing, it's because we have named the roles correctly. In other words, we've named them the same both in Stacker and in our instance of Airtable. So that's why you see that office is role office and then agent is role agent. Let's press save here and you're gonna see something. As soon as that's finished, you can see how the roles have now changed. And yeah, at this point, we are basically ready to work on a deeper level with our permissions. And that is to go into manage fields and data. And remember that condition that we've just set up, that permission for agents? Literally now we can assign it to only some users within certain roles. This little setting previously didn't exist, so what we need to do is just press agent and save. Click out of here. And now let's go ahead and test this. So I'm going to impersonate my friend John, dashboard, and John in theory should only be able to see only certain things. Oh, I'm impersonating Mary. Okay, John, here we go. So John, there you go. John can only now see one property, but we also have Mary, right? So Mary right now can't see a thing. She can't see any properties. So let's go ahead and edit that permission set. So we're gonna exit the preview and we're gonna go back into our manage fields and data. And now here in my properties, I'm going to create yet another set of permissions. And I'm gonna add a permission. And here I'm gonna call this office. Let's say all records for some users, and that role is office. So the office can see all the records. Press save. You see how it's now added. I'm gonna click out of this. I'm gonna go back to my preview. And now Mary can see all the properties, while if I impersonate John, he can see only very, very, very specific things. Now you can, of course, take this and apply this to a lot of different things. For example, let's say that we want to apply a similar thing to our tabs. Let's, for example, say that John should, or anybody who's an agent, shouldn't have access to the tab called My Tasks. Very easy to do. Let's click out of preview and let's jump into our dashboard. Now here, all I have to do is just go into edit layouts, edit the layouts, and now go into my tabs, and over here in the edit conditional visibility, edit, and then user role is office, and save. Let's preview this. And yes, save and continue. So now that I'm gonna go into preview, you're gonna notice that John suddenly hasn't got access to that tab for tasks. If I impersonate Mary though, who's working in the office, she can now see my tasks. So yeah. Okay, that's it guys. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little intro into Stacker permissions. We're gonna deep dive into more advanced permissions in the next video. So yeah, make sure you come back, and yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.